Alright, hello. This is going to be my tutorial for the new Area 1 hallway clip. So just to be clear, this is the clip which looks like this to get to floor 1.5. Alright, so first things first, you get to this hallway and make sure you're in Sidestep, because the first step is to get a mouse skew. So you're going to come over here, grab your favorite mouse, here we go, and then you do some shit, you walk into them and you get a skew. Unfortunately, this is the one part that I can't really help you with, because I'm really bad at this. It's very hard, it's going to take a lot of practice, I'm not good at it, but you do some stick inputs and you get a skew like this. You're going to need a pretty severe skew for this, so you want to be basically on the floor. So the next part is you want to switch back to standard so that you can control your angle easier. And then the next part is to get the angle. So for this, I look at Luigi's feet. So I have a close-up here. So look at his shoe texture. So there's this brown part, this light part, and then the kind of dark line that separates the two. So basically, my visual cue for this is I want this dark line on the bottom shoe to be in the light part of the top shoe. So I want to be something like this should work. So so the dark line on the bottom shoe is in line with the light part of the top shoe. So once you've got your angle, switch back to standard, and you are ready to go for the clip. So you want to walk into the corner, let go of the control stick, and then pause. I'll explain why it's important to let go of the stick in a bit, but once you're in the corner, you have your angle, you get to do the clip. So the inputs for the clip are you need to hold straight right on the control stick. You need to hold straight up or down on the C stick. I prefer up, but you could do down if you wanted. And then you need to switch back to standard, so you press D-pad left, and then you need to unpause and press X on the very next frame. There are multiple ways to unpause, but the easiest way is to do A and then X, because you can kind of roll your thumb from A to X. Basically the same as Biff Clip. So if you do it correctly, then you will fall down like this. So that is just how you do the clip itself. There are a few extra steps if you want to actually get to floor 1.5. So basically the way you get to floor 1.5 is you do that clip, and then you have to open this door like as you're falling down. Also, just the way that I'm doing like the hand movements for this. So once I pause, I use my left index finger to push right on the stick, and then I use my left thumb to do D-pad left, and then I use my left thumb to do C-stick up, and then my right thumb is free to do all of the A and X inputs. So in order to open the door, you're going to need to do the clip, so A then X, and then you need to leave the Game Boy Horror, and then press A to open the door. Now the easiest way that I find to do this is you do the A then X inputs, and then wait a tiny bit, and then do X then A. So you like the same but reverse. So it's going to look like this. Now I said you have to wait a little bit between those, and that is important because if you go too fast, then you'll end up doing something like this, where you'll go through and open the door, but you'll be too high up, and you'll just stay in bounds. And likewise, if you do it too late, then you'll end up just not opening the door at all, and you'll fall down. So there is some timing to that, but it's not too bad. It's at least a few frames, a handful of frames. Now I said that before you pause, it's important to not hold anything on the stick. So the reason for that is if you are holding right on the stick and you do it, then you'll actually end up walking left through this door. which is not what you want, because you actually can't open that door again. So if that does happen, the only way to get back to the right side is you have to do door skip, which is not ideal. There's also a bunch of annoying ghosts there that can scare you, like just happened to me. Right, so yeah, so you get into the corner, don't move, hold right, D-pad left, C stick up, A then X, X then A. That was too fast, but you get the point. So then you open that door and you're on floor 1.5, and then from there it's pretty much the same as normal any percent. But as you can see, I have this safe state here, which will get scared. So there's this ghost which can sometimes scare you, and you know, no matter what you do on your control sticks or L and R, you won't avoid him. But there is one way to avoid him, which is you do that. So as soon as the door closes, just press the Game Boy, and Luigi has this little like stumble animation anyway, so you're not actually losing any time doing that. So just once you get through the door, press X and you are free to move on. And what I like to do is I like to just flick left, and then I can go to standard, or sidestep, sorry, and set up for doing all of the you know, actual out of bounds stuff. So I'll just do a full run through. So you've got the skew, and then you set up the angle. So I'm looking on that dark line on the bottom shoe to line up with the light part of the top shoe. That should be good. Get into the corner, don't press anything, pause, right, D-pad left, C stick up, AX, XA, pull Game Boy, flick left, switch to sidestep, and can be on your merry way. Okay, so a few other things. So here's a much less severe skew, but this actually still works. So you don't need to have like a super flat to the ground skew, like this will still work. So if I set up my save state correctly, yeah, so like that is still fine. But the problem with that is the angle visual cue doesn't really work. So you see, if you look at Luigi's feet, it is not what I was describing earlier. So yeah, just be aware of that. It's going to be hard to find a good angle cue for, you know, every skew severity, but the one I described earlier seems to work for like most skews. Because when you get a mouse skew, you tend to get either like a mid skew or a really, really severe skew. It's not often you get a skew like this, at least in my experience. But yeah, just be aware that this can work, but you're going to have to kind of guess the angle a little bit more. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for the tutorial. I just want to take a little bit of time to also explain why this works, and why we didn't find it earlier. So basically there's this thing in the game where if you press either up or down, and then Game Boy Horror, you can like instantly turn up and down like this. But if you try to do it in other directions, like left and right, you see it doesn't work. And you know, this act of being able to instantly change your angle is like the reason why clips work, or at least why we think they work. So that's why we could always, in the past, we always thought we could only do it facing up or down. But then, you know, I put on my thinking cap. I was thinking, why is this the case? What is special about up and down? And I realized that the reason that this only works up and down is because if you try to do it to the side, you're moving like left and right in the Game Boy, which is changing Luigi's angle. So like if you try to instant turn to the side, your instant turn gets kind of overridden by the turning of the Game Boy. But if you're going just up and down, you're just moving up and down like this. This isn't actually changing Luigi's angle, so there's nothing stopping you from doing the instant turns up and down. So then I was like, okay, well, you can control the Game Boy with the C stick as well. So maybe, you know, if I wanted to flick left, if I like held right on the C stick and left, it would cancel out. But it turns out that actually the C stick just completely overrides the control stick in the Game Boy. So like if I just hold C stick up, anything I do on the control stick will do absolutely nothing. So this means that you can, where basically it lets you do the instant turns like this. If you just hold up or down on the C stick, it lets you do instant turns, because you're no longer, like if I flick left, holding left no longer is trying to change my angle as well, so I'm free to do the instant turn. So yeah, so that's basically why it works, why the C-stick input is important, and why it took so much longer to find it, because we did not realize that until before. But yeah, that is how you do the new clip.